you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Good evening. This is episode 143. I am joined by Brandon, aka Bash. This is our Monday night post show on Wednesday nights. Brandon, how you doing, man?
We're all right. The Knicks luckily winning, but decided I would place a bet, and gentleman that I needed to score 15 got hurt at 14 points. So that really just put a little damper on the night. But it's all right. It's all right. We got UFC on Saturday. We'll come back. We ain't dying. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain. Let me tell you, this has been a crazy. It was a crazy 2 weeks. I worked literally 7 days straight for the last 2 weeks, so combined 14 days straight. Some of them being 12-hour days. So that I was kind of feeling the aftermath a little bit this weekend. Finally getting a day off on Sunday, and I was just tired. And Monday, so I was like, man, we got to do a show this week. Just can't be tonight. But anyhow, happy to be here, and this is back to a normal week. Tonight I just had this great dinner out in Bayshore. It's called Kaseki or something like that. It's on Main Street, literally across the street from Tap Room in Bayshore, and some good all-you-can-eat food for about $40 a person. Includes sushi, hibachi, and all these like different things. Good stuff tonight.
I'll have to check that out. I am a very big hibachi fan. Not too much on the sushi, but love all the kitchen entrees. So I'll definitely have to check that out one day.
Yeah, very, very good. But getting back to wrestling, we've had ourselves a pretty decent weekend of wrestling. And we're here to talk about some of it. We're not going to hit on every single thing, but we're going to hit on most things tonight. But for those of you guys that are watching, if all goes well, you might be hearing us on our Apple iTunes platform, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it. We actually might successfully have an upload this week. So if those of you guys that are listening to us for the first time, please look for us on the YouTube. You can find us by the same logo that we use for the iTunes platform. That is our profile photo. You can find us, the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast, on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. We are also sponsored by Back Sports Page. We will talk more about them later. But here we go. So, we are going to talk about Raw, but your thoughts. And we talked about it last week. I also talked about it last Sunday. Cody Rhodes, that match was set up with Drew McIntyre for this past Friday night that took place. But that was set up immediately after Elimination Chamber, which we believe could have very well been a pivot. Maybe it could have been a plan all along. We don't know. Maybe we won't find out until WWE Unreal on Netflix. But we now have Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, which in my opinion is a bigger match than what we were originally almost about to get, with Drew versus Randy. I think Cody versus Randy Orton has much more of a deeper story, which is more of an attractive. I would say it's going to get more attention than otherwise having Randy versus Drew. I think this was a good move. Can they still introduce maybe a four-way? Sure. But for now, we have Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship as Cody won on SmackDown. Your thoughts about this main event, which could be night 1 or night 2, depending on which championship has the better build, let's be honest.
I think they'll probably do that night 1 just because Punk versus Roman has been drawn up to be insane. I think it makes sense. I mean, I remember last week talking about it and saying, like you said, that it's just for draw factor. You know, obviously there's the history between Cody and Randy. So now it's going to be a much more easier storyline to understand and grasp and be able to write. The writers will be able to write better stories for compared to having Drew versus Randy. Now, I think they could have done Cody versus Drew again, most likely, but they obviously had that this past Friday. So a lot of different directions they could have went. I was surprised, but not too surprised because, like I said, they're looking for that draw. They need to sell tickets. They need to make the best matches, and Cody versus Randy will feed families.
100%, 100%. I'm personally excited to see the story that they tell between Cody and Randy Orton. There's a lot they can talk about. They can talk about Dusty. There's a lot. They can talk about how Randy Orton was Cody Rhodes' mentor. They can talk about how Cody's first match on WWE TV was against Randy Orton. There's a lot of story there and to be told, and I think Cody versus Randy is going to tell a good story. People might not even think it's going to be the best wrestling match. Quite possibly Punk Roman might be the better match. I really don't know, but from a story standpoint, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I would honestly say that it's gonna have not technical wrestling, but at least both guys can move a little bit. I think Punk versus Roman is. I don't think that's gonna be a stylistic wrestling match. I think it's gonna be a good match nonetheless, but I think that the style that Cody and Randy can bring is gonna be a little bit more high paced and a little bit more action. Not to say Roman and Punk won't put on a good match as well.
Yeah, I mean Cody Rhodes will definitely carry Randy Orton to an extent, but both main events from a story standpoint, I'm excited, and we'll touch base with Punk Roman very soon. But we gotta talk about Judgment Day. We gotta talk about Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was expecting the turn to happen pretty much right away. I thought maybe we would probably get to about let's just say 2 more weeks. I was thinking maybe we'd get to like Boston or the Garden for the Judgment Day to turn. Something big that you can talk about
Mm-hmm.
for that show because they're gonna do something big. They always put their best shows when they go to Boston or when they go to the Garden for sure. Chicago, you can say the same for Philly. Whenever they go to a major city, guaranteed is the best show. So I was expecting maybe like a gradual build here. So it was kind of obvious what was going to be happening with Finn Balor, Dom. I mean, we've been talking about it for months on this podcast. We've seen the cracks in the foundation of Judgment Day, but they went right to it, and we're going to talk about it right now. So we see Dirty Dom. He comes out with Judgment Day. He calls out Finn Balor, and he feels like he has to air out his dirty laundry. And then Dom is like, I don't want to do this, but I got to air out the dirty laundry. You're making me air out the dirty laundry. He's pissed because Dominic lost the Intercontinental title last week. Blames Finn Balor because Finn stopped Dom from cheating. So we knew that this was going to go somewhere. But Dominic, he's calling out Finn Balor. He's wondering where the heck Finn has been. And Finn apologizes. Says he was trying to teach Dominic a lesson. Says that we're family and we'll always have your back. But says that he says to Dom, basically, says to Dom, if you want to be the greatest Mysterio, you got to fight your own battles sometimes here. Finn feels the more that he helps, the more he realizes that Dominic's dad is right, and that maybe he is a spoiled prick. Out of the mouth of Finn Balor, that is. Not out of my mouth. Finn Balor said that. Gotta clarify that. We are a clean podcast, but we're just regurgitating what was said.
I didn't know that would be a word that they would bleep.
This is WrestleMania season. They always get edgy in WrestleMania season.
Yeah, I just didn't think that was one that Netflix wouldn't allow, but the more you learn.
I've always noticed for years, even on live TV, WWE pushes the envelope and gets a little bit more edgier because they know it's WrestleMania season. More eyes are going to be on the product during WrestleMania season. So if they can get a little edgy during that time, they always try to push the envelope.
Makes sense.
Dominic pushes Finn Balor, and this is where it all starts. Finn Balor has his back turned to Dominic, starts adjusting his jacket, like, okay. And then gives him the Pele kick, heard around the world. Dominic is down. And then we see it all unravel before our eyes. I should have done a reaction video for this. Of a real-time reaction. I should have done it. But there'll be plenty of moments like that we can do over the next couple of weeks. But Dominic so basically, we see Finn. He pushes. Finn is pushed by Dominic. Finn gets the Pele kick off, and then Judgment Day is starting to kind of hold them apart. And as Dominic's approaching Finn Balor hits Dominic with the sling blade. And then what's Liv doing? Liv is in the corner. She's shocked. Finn Balor is pointing the guns. You would think that Liv from behind would have given him the low blow or something like that.
I thought she was gonna jump on his back and grab his neck and do all that stuff. Yep.
Liv was kind of conflicted, maybe borderline confused what's going on or whatever. She's sitting there doing nothing for a second, and then you see Finn about to charge at Dominic when we see JD McDonough nail Finn Balor with the clothesline. And this is where it all goes to hell and basket from here. Judgment Day, they all just go to town on Dominic. Finn Balor gets nailed with the hammer. Frog splash twice, one of which was with a frog splash onto the chair, onto Finn Balor. And then the 4 members of Judgment Day are standing tall with Finn Balor on the ground. What did you think of this? And do you think turning Finn was the right call? Turning Judgment Day having Judgment Day turn on Finn was the right call as to maybe doing Judgment Day turning on Dominic?
I think that you have more of, how do you say this? You have more of a storyline by having Finn get attacked. Because now JD needs to make a decision.
Which he basically did.
Right, exactly. And even then, it could be one of those decision and then another decision, and then JD can go with Finn instead and go, the Judgment Day is nothing without you, Finn. I'd rather be with you. So, I think that makes sense. Obviously, Roxanne hasn't been there. So, I think to keep Judgment Day in the people's eyes, especially now also as we'll talk about the IC, the gauntlet match, Raquel was not the winner. And obviously Liv is in the title picture. But if she loses at WrestleMania, then who knows the direction of the Judgment Day if they become losers instead. So we will definitely see. But I think they could have pushed it till next week. But I also, or maybe the weekend. No, I think, you know what? They honestly did it at a pretty good time because we're at right now, 5.5 weeks until WrestleMania. And I think if they waited a little bit too long, it would have been tough to build some other storylines. So next week, Finn is going to come out with the mic and do something, or Dom or JD. Somebody will come out, and then there'll be another attack And then maybe that's the thing is like the Judgment Day really doesn't have any enemies right now.
Well, if
Except
I'm then, I would keep Finn off TV
right.
next week. Just let the Judgment Day come out. Let Finn
Okay.
sell his injury. Have Finn come back the week after, and then because you got 5 weeks, so there's plenty of time to tell this story here.
Hmm.
But notice like a lot of like the big stars of Monday Night Raw were not there, except for CM Punk, but we're not there tonight. That's gonna be part of WrestleMania. So like this Raw I liked because it was very story driven, and we had the turn of Judgment Day on Finn. I think and then now you have Roxanne out. She'll be back soon though. Um, like the with Finn gone, like this changes the dynamic, and now you have kind of like teased dissension between Liv and Raquel. Like I feel like the sleeves are subtly being planted there. Um, like Liv is basically kind of like distracted Raquel. Hey, go for the IT title. Go for that.
Hmm.
So just to kind of not get, just so that Raquel is not in Liv's way of the championship. So you have that dynamic going on there. So Liv costing Raquel a couple times inadvertently. So there could be something there at Mania too, where they continue that. Judgment Day, as we know it, may not even be. It might be completely dissolved by SummerSlam. I would say.
Hmm. There's actually not an original member left in the Judgment Day since Edge had started it.
Nope.
Rhea's gone. Damien's been gone for a while, and Finn was the last one.
Yep. Now you got Dominic as the longest reigning Judgment Day member.
Crazy.
Yeah. And who knows? They might do something where Liv turns on Dominic, or Dominic turns on Liv. Who knows what kind of story they're gonna tell going forward. I don't know if we get any more than another few months out of Judgment Day before everybody's feuding with each other at this point.
Yeah, true.
So, but let's talk Obafemi. Rumors are finally circulating heavy on Facebook. A lot of IWCs talking about Obafemi versus Rusev. They had their match, and it was a great match. We'll talk about it in a second. But lots of rumors about the possibility of Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I think the fans have been calling for it. I've been calling for it. I think the WWE universe as a whole has made their voice heard, and I feel like Triple H might be finally listening. But the rumors have it that the match at Mania is going to be Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar.
That we've been talking. I think that's the move. I mean,
We were talking
who
about
else?
like this is probably the best move.
Yeah, who else is Brock going to take on? Like I said, we were talking LA Knight. Uh, it would kind of make sense only because, like I said, the vision is down to two guys and it's kind of dead. The Brock is still a Paul Heyman guy, and LA Knight is obviously against the vision right now. So maybe he goes, "Hey, well, it's going to be the Usos versus the Vision. I got another guy for you to face, and then we get LA Knight versus Brock." That would be the only way I see that possible is by Paul Heyman coming back. We could get Seth too. We could get Seth versus Brock.
That is very possible.
That there's three potentials right now, and all three of them make sense. But Oba is probably the higher guy on the pedestal right now for the
Yeah,
champ.
because like if you don't do Oba versus Brock, then what do you do for Oba? It makes
True.
sense to have Oba answer the open challenge for sure.
Oba versus
But
Danhausen.
what do you do for Oba?
Oba versus
I would
Danhausen.
like to see Danhausen curse Brock Lesnar and have Oba Femi beat Brock Lesnar within 8 seconds.
That would be
That'd be
fantastic.
funny.
That would be the way to get like everybody's eyes on Oba. Brock is literally on this whole tour. He's going to be at Raw next week. Then just right before he goes out there, he like knocks into Danhausen and Danhausen drops his teeth and then just you are cursed. And that's it.
Oh yes, I I feel like, do we know where Raw is next week?
Not off the top of my head, I
Okay.
should say, but that
So
is
I know the
Google it.
Boston show comes before Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden is the end of this month. So we have the Boston show comes up. It might be the Boston show this week, if not the week after.
No, San Antonio's, then Boston,
San
then
Antonio.
MSG.
Okay. So I would have to say at the latest. I mean, even between the MSG show and WrestleMania, that's still about 18 days away.
Mhm.
But I would say at the latest, probably at Madison Square Garden, Brock will get his challenge answered by Obafemi, I think, or by whomever. But we're thinking Obafemi. It's gonna.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be either at Boston Garden or Madison Square Garden where Brock Lesnar gets his open challenge answered, and many people believe, according to IWC today, is um, going to be Obafemi. So unless they come up with a good opponent for Obafemi for Mania, that makes sense. I think you got to go Lesnar for sure.
mhm.
You've already had Rusev and Obafemi in the program, and Obafemi and Rusev, they slapped meat for a good 5 minutes, but Obafemi hits Rusev with the power bomb and wins, and he looks good. He looks good. He squashed Gargano on Friday. He squashed War Vader a couple weeks ago, and Kip Wilson the week, So he's on a tear. He's on a tear, but. You want to build up Obafemi, you got to feed him Brock Lesnar and just slap a rocket ship to him for going into SummerSlam season.
Yeah. Nah, like I mean, Rusev had a couple of answers, but it was 75-25 Oba the whole way. Already shows that he's a guy that can go up against anybody basically. So we will see. But
Yeah, and I
I
feel like
also
they're building towards that too.
yeah, I also don't think that luckily that match could be a 5 minute match as well, but both guys can get three or four big shots to, on each of them, do something on the outside, get tackled into the good thing is that's another one where technically nobody needs to win. They can just get counted out. Both of them get counted out. It could be a whole draw, and then screw it. They just beat each other up, and that also gives you a backlash match as well. So I can see where they might not have a winner in that one, just so that you don't bury Oba and technically bury Brock.
Yeah. And I will say though, it was reported a couple months ago that Oba was set in line for a big match at WrestleMania. So this seems like the biggest match option that you could do for Oba Femi, have him go against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So we had the number one contenders for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I'm gonna get to my notes here really quick. Okay, here we go. So the winner of this gauntlet match goes on to face AJ Lee, which is set for Monday Night Raw in San Antonio. I thought maybe this was going to be set up a number one contender for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I thought they might push that 2 weeks and get a bigger show, like you said, at Boston or at MSG, anything like that. But yeah, we have it set for Raw.
I mean, AJ Lee says she did want to be a fighting champion, so we could expect at least maybe one or two more matches out of her before Mania.
Mhm.
But the match starts with Io and Lyra Valkyra. Io pins Lyra following the moonsault. And man, they got to showcase Lyra better because she's such a good wrestler. She's one of the best in-ring workers besides Stephanie Valkyrie.
Sometimes you got to bring a winner down, lose a couple of matches to heighten them back up. And I feel like that should be the move for Lyra because, like you said, I remember when we were first talking about her and the growth that she could have. And I think we are finally starting to see it. So, kind of surprised that they did that. But Io as well is another one that they're, like I said, because Rhea's leaving, they're trying to push Io as a singles competitor. So, I understand her winning the first one and then
Yeah.
next.
Then Raquel comes out as Io's next opponent. Um, Io wins with an inside cradle because Raquel was distracted by Liv
Liv
Morgan.
and Stephanie.
Yes, so the Liv Morgan and Stephanie situation spilled out onto ringside. Um, Stephanie Vaquer comes out, and Raquel is just attacked. Is distracted, and then Raquel attacks. So basically, Raquel is eliminated right there because she got distracted. And then we see Raquel attack Io after that, um, throwing her into the post, followed by a Tejada bomb onto the apron. Io's knocked out, and then basically she's left lying on the mat, and then out comes Io Sky, comes in, pins Io right away, and just like that, Io's out of this match. Could expect that we could get Raquel versus Io on one of the next couple Raws.
Yeah, after something like that, because she definitely messed up her opportunity, and now yeah, no, I could see that happening.
So Ivy Nile had a really good showing against Bailey here.
Hmm.
Ivy Nile was featured pretty well during this match, and hopefully, they build her up. Because we need some more contenders, especially like on the SmackDown side. We need U.S. title contenders and future, SmackDown WWE Women's Champion contenders on the SmackDown side.
Yep.
So, but Bailey beats Ivy Nile. She had a really good showing, and then Asuka comes out, and Bailey wipes out Asuka at first, but then they have somewhat of a good couple minute interaction there, Asuka and Bailey, that is. But then Kyrie interferes, and then Lyra comes out to take out Kyrie Sane. Bailey wins with the Rose Plant, and that is how the gauntlet finishes up. And Bailey is now the number one contender for AJ Lee, which they made this match just kind of be a Mania match. But this is your number one contender match. Bailey wins, and now Bailey's going against AJ Lee for the Intercontinental title at Raw in San Antonio next week. Big match.
Yep.
And now, and there's kind of like some history there with Bailey and AJ Lee too as well. But what do you think? Do you think it's the right call for AJ Lee? Do you think that maybe they should have done this at Mania, or?
I think that they're most because of these number one contender matches. I always say there's a lot of things that can come out of these because you had 6 women that all went up against each other at some point. So like you said, we're gonna get Io versus Raquel. That's gonna be great. Now I could see there being a ladder match for the IC belt. And I could see half of the women that were involved be in that ladder match. I could see a few others be getting involved. So that's where I think they're rushing this match a little bit so that you do see Lyra comes out and maybe tries to help. You do see different people that are all intertwined in this. And then, as like Maxine is in this as well. You have Maxine and Natty. So there's just a lot that can go on over the next 5 weeks. So I think that they'll try to build for something a little bit bigger at WrestleMania. So I like the Bailey choice. I think that, Bailey and AJ didn't get too many matches in AJ's prime before she had to retire early. So I do like them doing this match at this time. And yeah, no, I think that there was a lot going on there. Anything else to really say about the match? Oh, I don't know if Ivy looks skinnier or like if she lost weight or got
She's
toned.
leaned. Yeah, she's toned and leaned out.
She could be on the sauce, and I'm not going to put any of that out there. I don't really want to, but like, it just looks crazy. Like she looked crazy, and also Bailey looked pretty good in the top. Again, don't want to say anything too outlandish, But yeah, she definitely looked pretty nice this last night or Monday night.
And just to let you guys know, we are live. And guys, be sure to check out backsportspage.com. They are the website that sponsors the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast. That is www.backsportspage.com. Check out all their wrestling content and their sports, the New York Giants content, and much more. Those of you guys that are watching, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for us. Please. This will help us out. But now we are going to talk about the Seth Rollins opening Raw promo. So this was a really weird promo. You had Seth Rollins in the ring, and he is like surrounded by all these masked men, and they're all moving around and being all stealthy or whatever. So let's talk about it really quick. Adam Pearce calls out Seth Rollins to the ring to have a conversation, right? And then a bunch of these masked men, they come out, surround the ring until Seth Rollins gets in the middle of the ring finally. And, Adam says, we don't really see eye to eye. We see eye to eye sometimes. We both don't like the vision, but it's his job to manage Raw. And, he's also gone on to saying what Seth has been doing with all the black masks is unacceptable. And he basically asks Seth Rollins, like, okay, what's going to happen if for some reason the Vision finally catches up with you? Because you haven't been cleared to, wrestle yet. Logan Paul comes out along with Austin Theory. They're threatening Seth Rollins. Rollins then gets away with the help of all these black masked men circling around him and stuff. Like, I couldn't even my eyes keep up, but it was kind of a little bit of a weird segment. It almost kind of felt like Retribution, like from 2020. But what did you think of this opening segment?
I expected it, but like you said, to have 20 some odd guys come out was definitely pretty crazy. That was not expected on that end.
It was kind of cheesy in a way.
Yeah, it seemed a little cheesy. And then yeah, that was really it. I mean, like you said, the Vision coming out, it's almost like they're trying to make the Vision seem somewhat strong still, but now with everybody being injured and everything like that, it's just the Vision is starting to kind of fall off a little bit. But it's like, hey, let's have the Vision against 20 guys just to make them seem like they could still do some damage. Like it was very strange.
I mean, listen, at this point, if you want to make the Vision look strong, have them win the tag titles at Mania.
Right.
Because that is clearly an option that they can go to with Usos having beef with the Vision, as we saw last week. But then what do you do with Seth Rollins? So it's like
he might not be cleared till then.
He essentially might not be cleared, but at the same time, like, he could probably come in and throw interference or something. But because that's right, storyline wise, Seth Rollins has not been cleared. However, we do know that the length of his injury should have him healthy around the time Mania comes around, if not just after Mania.
We shall see.
Yeah. Really quick, we won't spend much time on this, but we had Penta versus the OG Americano Grande. But before the OG Americano Grande comes out, we see Danhausen curse Chad Gable, OG Americano Grande.
Mm-hmm.
So Danhausen curses him. And somehow, the OG Americano does not make it to the ring. We don't see him for the rest of the night.
Right.
But then El Grande Americano, number 2, he comes out We saw that before the El Grande Americano came out. That the
They were
OG Americano, I
okay.
don't know if you noticed in the background, was flanked by Ryu and I forget the other one's name.
Bravo.
Bravo, yes, aka Pete Dunne and
Tyler.
Tyler Bate.
Tyler Bate, yeah.
So
Yeah,
Americano,
I
OG
saw them
Americano's
freaking.
curse. So we see El Grande take OG Americano's spot, and which was supposed to be for the Intercontinental title, by the way.
Mhm.
And Penta wins. So apparently next week we're getting El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano.
Yes, I did see
OG
that.
versus the new Americano. I believe this is going to be a lead up to. I believe there's going to be no decision. I believe this is going to be a lead up to a mask versus mask at WrestleMania. Your thoughts?
I remember we spoke about that last week. I definitely agree. I think somebody gets attacked or something like that. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that this match actually makes it into the ring, or that it makes it longer. If it does get to the ring, that it would be anything longer than a 3-minute match. So yeah, I think they'll find a way to have Ryo and Bravo come in and, you know, like I said, attack the OG, Chad Gable, whatever you want to call him. Um, so yeah, I think mask versus mask is the way to go.
Yeah, I would love to see the look on the face of whoever gets revealed. Now, let me ask you this: who do you keep as El Grande Americano going forward?
I think that if it is a mask versus mask, one of their masks gets pulled off during the match, and that's the person that wins, so that they just completely scrap the El Grande Americano entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is like now nobody knows who to cheer for. That's the main thing. Because people were high on uh, Ludwig Americano, people were high on Gable Americano, and now people are kind of indifferent. You hear some chants for Gable Americano, but you know, I think that they just need to scrap it at this point. Because also Ludwig was getting like cheered a lot when he was El Grande Americano. Like
He's
people
done
liked him.
such a good job.
Fantastic. He did great in AAA. I watched a couple of those matches last week, and like the crowd was on his side the whole way. So now that the crowd, you heard it on Monday Night Raw, the crowd not really flipped, but they were more on Chad Gable's side. So, or not really Chad Gable's side, but they were upset that it was the imposter Americano. This is getting too tough to talk about, but
Oh yeah, too
yeah,
many Americanos
yeah,
going on. Now
that,
here's the thing on AAA,
mhm.
El Grande Americano, Ludwig Kaiser, that is presented more of a face
Okay,
than and on WWE programming he's kind of presented as a heel.
which is wild because if you want people to watch and you'd want as many audience members as possible to feel the same way. Yes, you've had, you know, obviously people flip in the midst of a match. I was not born yet, but Rock versus or I might have been born, but I don't know what WrestleMania number it was. But Rock versus Hogan, where they thought Rock was going in as the baby
18.
face. That was
Yep.
18. What year was that?
2002.
Okay, so I was born, but I was a baby not watching wrestling yet or a toddler. Um, so that's at least where everybody thought Rock is the baby face going and going to get cheered, and all of a sudden Hogan's getting all these cheers going, huh? What are we going to do in this match now? We got to pivot real quick. Same thing. If you're going to put somebody as a face on one side, you should keep them as a face, especially now that they're doing these jumping companies and people on TNA, NXT, and WWE. you got to keep him as a face the whole way through. So I'm surprised that
Yeah.
they're doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think you scrap the El Grande Americano entirely.
Really?
Yeah, I think Chad loses the mask during the match, and then Chad wins the match. Like he doesn't cover his face, so we don't know it's him. And then he pins Ludwig, and then Ludwig has to take off the mask, and then we just scrap the idea entirely. But we'll
That'd
see.
be wild.
I don't, like I said, I think that it's just kind of fading at this point. It's been a while that Chad Gable had it, and it's been a while that Ludwig has it. So I think now neither guy is really gonna do anything with it. But if anyone keeps it, I would say it's Ludwig. He's the one that actually knows Spanish, has his two henchmen, and
He's done so well with the gimmick.
he's done so well. And like you said, he's a face at AAA. So if he's doing well there, you don't need to see him on Raw too much. And I think it's like I said, I think Chad Gable needs something new to get either a push in some type of way.
We are going to talk about the Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso Punk promo that happened at the end of Raw. We're going to talk about that right now. But first, those of you guys that are watching, hit that subscribe button. That'll help us out. And as we are start to come for landing, but make sure you hit that subscribe button because we have a lot of content coming your way. But we are going to talk about the Usos in the Punk promo. So, this was a good segment that they did. Roman was not on Raw. A lot of big names were not there tonight, or should I say Monday night. So this was a really good segment that kind of like that's kind of gonna hold us over until we see Roman Reigns. He'll be back on Raw next week, and I'm interested to see how the Usos are going to be intertwined into this now, because I feel like the Usos are slowly being dragged into this Roman Reigns or CM Punk program, as we had just seen on Monday night. So I'll let you start this one off. What did you think of the promo with Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso demanding an apology out of CM Punk?
I like the reasoning for it. He said that it was basically CM Punk came out and said a whole bunch of nonsense. I hate to say it like that, but he just said that Roman never really respected me. And now I have the title, I have the championship, and that's what makes people in any business. That's how you find out who the best is. So I'm the best, and I drag people up to my level. People need to level up, and I level this place up. So, Punk is surprised that Roman doesn't respect him. And then Jay just wants Punk to apologize for what he had said last week about his, their late uncle, and that he's going to bury Roman right next to him, which was, we spoke about, that was a wild, wild claim after that. And then Punk says, no disrespect, and I've been close with your family for longer than you guys know, and basically says that the entire family, down to Siki and Afa, all respected me, and I respect everybody except, and I quote, that one son of a bitch. And that's where Jay let it all out. Jay was saying, it's not about Roman. Just say I'm sorry. That's it. Just apologize for what you said. And then the say you're sorry chants came in. That was all funny.
Yeah.
And then basically Punk goes, nah, I am sorry. I'm sorry that Roman is treating you and the rest of and the rest of everybody here like garbage. I'm sorry that he made it very personal. Said, I'm sorry that he disrespected Dusty. And I'm sorry that he tricked you and the family, that he gave a damn about anybody else. And he started laying a barrage of insults against Roman. And he basically said that, I'm sorry that Roman sent his young boys instead of being here. And that's where pushing and shoving happens. Punk was about to go after Jay. And Jimmy landed one of the cleanest right hands that I've seen in WWE. That looked like it might have really hit Punk across the chin, across the cheek. And that's basically where it was. Like Punk actually like looked at his ear. He was like, that might have hit me. And they roll out. Punk, the Usos roll out. And that was really about it. So this is, like you said, one of the ways where the Usos are now dragged into what what Roman kind of, not really what Roman started, more what Punk started, but family sticks together. And yeah, the Usos definitely stood up for their cousin and their family in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we have the Usos kind of potentially dragged into this. Punk is probably going to react next week. Roman's going to come out next week. I'm surprised. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the punchline of Roman to talk about Larry, Punk's dog.
Oh yeah,
You know that's coming. That's somewhere
absolutely.
that's coming. Um, but so I mean, this, what we saw on Monday could very well affect how the WrestleMania match between Punk and Roman is going to play out. We could see interference. The Usos go heel. See, I'm trying not to overbook this thing because you also have the dynamic where the Usos are probably going to defend their titles, most likely against Division, but then getting back to that, then okay, if Seth is available to wrestle, then who's he going to fight if Division's fighting the Usos? So there's a lot of moving pieces going on right now that I don't even think WWE has quite figured out yet, at least as far as we know. But yeah, so I mean, you could have Usos defend and lose the titles night one, and they got to lose the division if they go against division, hands down. You got to keep the division relevant until Bronson and Braun Breaker come back. So that's really the best way to do that is have them become the tag champs. So that's got to happen.
Yep.
And then maybe the Usos go heel together and join up with Roman Reigns again. Who knows? But
Do they kill the Yeet that fast is the real question,
I
because
mean, the Yeet's been
yeah.
around for over 2 years now and counting, so possibly almost three.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, true. Might be time.
yeah, but
Hmm.
so that's where we're at. We have Roman coming back next week on Raw. So Punk will be there. Expect fireworks. Brock Lesnar's gonna be on Raw next week. Who's gonna answer his challenge? Will it happen next week? Will it happen a week after the Boston Garden? Um, so that remains to be seen there. So we're expecting Alba there. We have AJ Lee against Bailey. What happens with that afterwards? Maybe Bailey wins and she gets her WrestleMania match against Becky. Who knows what's gonna happen there? I think I'm leaning more towards probably like a ladder match because then that gets away that gets like you said earlier, that gets Becky involved. That can get Maxine involved. That can get Natty involved, and you'd have AJ Lee. So all those names I just mentioned have kind of been intertwined with each other over the past number of months now. So that would make sense to do a ladder match for the IC for the
Yeah.
women there. 100%.
Basically
Along
four
with
of yeah.
Valkyra and Bailey, you could have all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be a good six-way ladder match there. There's got to be a ladder match at Mania of some sort, so that would be probably a good way to do it there.
Who has the tag belts? Excuse me. Who has the tag belts now?
For on the Raw side,
The women's one. I'm sorry.
so Naya and Lash Legend when they
It,
defeated Rhea Ripley,
right. They had that happened that Friday, and then
and that basically set
Rhea
Rhea up.
won on Saturday to let that
Yeah,
happen. True.
not necessarily a fan. I mean, listen, I love Rhea and everything, but just the better storyline was kind of set up with having Tiffany Stratton get her rematch, which she never got against Jade. So the story was there; it was perfectly set up. So now you're kind of creating a new story out of thin air with Rhea winning the number one contender, and so she'll get her opportunity. But that belt's got to come off of Jade, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
And
got to do
supposedly
some.
rumors are going around there's heat on Jade Cargill backstage, so it's very possible she'll lose that title.
Yeah, I can see that happening too. I think SmackDown needs a little bit of help on that side so Rhea could stay there.
Yes, there are a couple girls that are on Raw that need to come over to SmackDown that haven't been on SmackDown, like that. Like I think Lyra would benefit going over there. So it just, yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes there. But Rhea would have some opponents instantly. You got Nia Jax, and you got Lash Legend there, so you got some opponents you can throw her way. Lyra Valkyra, Chelsea Green. There's some stuff you can do. But yeah, Rhea's got to win that belt.
Yeah.
Brandon, any comments you'd like to make about this past week of wrestling? Anything that you'd like to share before we go?
I love Danhausen. That's all I got to say. I got to get a Danhausen shirt. I hope they take my idea and get like a 50 pack of mini Danhausen face stickers and just put them in like the tiniest little corner on the truck. Like that's all they need. They don't need his face big, just tiny little stickers so that like he gets his wish like appeased. I hope he introduces I don't know if there's anybody that he'd be able to introduce for the Hall of Fame, but I hope that during the Hall of Fame induction, there's a way that they can bring him in. Like just same strap a rocket on him. I don't care. He's a comedy guy. It's hysterical. They're doing great. The curse is fantastic now, and I think that they're hitting it out of the park. And I hope that they do everything with little mini tweaks, but they still give him everything on his list.
Danhausen has gotten some big crowd reactions his past appearances
Mm-hmm.
at SmackDown. He actually came out during the Raw commercial, and he was throwing T-shirts to the crowd.
I saw that, and
Yeah.
it was like, if you don't buy my merch, you are cursed, or something like that. I was like, yes, love that. I did see
I'm
that
telling
on
you,
Twitter or something.
Danhausen's gonna be like WWE's biggest merch guy. He's gonna be a top 3 easily.
Oh yeah,
It's
oh
happening.
yeah.
The Danhausen action figure, I am 100% getting that. So
I want to look at the t-shirts now and see if it's worth the 27 and change because it just might be.
there is a big discount on Monday. So we're gonna be advocates. We have our for those of you guys that Brandon, I'm sure you may know. We actually have a Pro Wrestling Tees store for the aftermath, but we are also going to be an advocate for WWE. So people can buy WWE using like our discount code and something like that. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. But this Monday is, I think I read something like 31.6% discount off of shirts because of 316 day.
Ooh,
So
okay.
I got to keep an eye on that. This is what somebody was telling me. I got to confirm, but I will definitely be keeping an eye on that because I do want to see if I can get a couple WrestleMania shirts. Get the Obafemi shirt. I want to see if I can get. They really haven't really rolled out all the WrestleMania 42 merch yet. So I feel like they're taking their sweet time on that. I've been checking. Anyhow, so that's what's coming up. But those of you guys that are watching, Brandon, thank you so much for hopping on. Those of you guys that are watching, we will be back next week, either Monday night or Tuesday, depending on our schedules. But we will provide a post show next week. We are in the thick of it, my friends. We could not do a top 5 Friday last week. We will try to get one this week, but otherwise we will be back at the latest with our top 5 Friday next week. And also be on the lookout for some new action figure reveals that we are going to actually post on our YouTube channel. So we have some pretty cool creative stuff coming up for that. And Brandon, thank you so much for hopping on. Those of you guys that are watching, hit that subscribe button. Help us out. And feel free to join us next time as we be back next Monday night or Tuesday night talking about Raw. In the meantime, catch you guys later.
Agility from the champion. Uh-oh!